that the last live stream ended, I think the internet just clicked out for a minute. It's really, really warm where we have our electric system. And yesterday it was so warm that our actual car wouldn't drive. Now, we used to eat around here. We really are used to the heat, but not like this. So Mark literally had to soak the car underneath. The brake pads weren't working, and we don't have an handbrake. What do they call it now? Parking brake or something, stop brake, something like that. That wasn't working, so we got a warning sign, and it was just the heat. So I didn't want to just leave you hanging like that in the air. I thought I'll nip back on and tell them what happened. I can't edit them together, unfortunately. Now, lots of people were going out because it's cooling down a little bit now, which is nice. Bit of wind, actual wind coming in for us, which has really made a difference. But yeah, we had a bit of a talk about the big distraction, didn't we? But what I wanted to let you know is I will be back on Saturday night with Deb Singleton, and we're going to do... I just said, let's not have a subject. Let's just put the world to rights. Let's just have a, throw us some topics in the questions and in the chat, and we'll answer them. Hi, Brandon. How you doing? And we'll chuck them at us and we'll answer them, kind of thing. So, yeah, nothing planned topic-wise, but we figured we'd give it a try. And it's nice to see all of the new people that are popping into the chat as well. People seem to really like the live streams. Hiya, Big Doggy, you back. Hi, Deb. How you doing, Bullfrog? Hey, Sharon, sweetheart. And Paddy's back again. It is the internet playing up, Paddy, but I think, like I've just said, I think it's the heat. We went to go out in the car yesterday, and inside the car was 42 degrees. It was awful. And the car just wouldn't have it. It wouldn't have it at all. So Mark did his diagnostics, and he said, Debbie, I think it's just the car. And we can't park it anywhere in shade. There's just nowhere to park it in shade where we can also keep an eye on it at the same time. So it's out there in direct sunlight. So it's just unusual heat for me, unusual heat. And I think it's having an effect on our electric cupboard as well, because that's where all of like our boilers in there and everything that works, the cold air and everything else is in this one place, and that cupboard is incredibly warm at the moment. So I don't know whether we're going to pull everything down and just put the generator on for a bit and get a fan going or something like that. It is starting to cool off now. I mean, I'm not sure what time it is in America. It's about 20 to 8 here at night in the UK. So it is starting. Sun will go down about 10 o'clock, and it'll cool down then. But I think it's the same for everyone, isn't it? Everywhere, all across the UK, having really warm weather. And as I started the show before, they are telling us that we're all going to die, obviously, over the next couple of days. Hi, Tija, how are you doing? Hi, Kevin. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss you out there. There's our Richard, he's back again. I'm from a place called Trump's ex-girlfriend. I like that Pam. I'm not sure who that Pam is, but I like her. She's brilliant. She'll tell you the dog's a dog, won't she? A spade's a spade. Oh, hang on. Oh, it's fine. I don't mind a laugh, mate. Don't worry about that. Quite comical. I was on earlier. I was letting people know who are not from the UK that our government have given us some absolutely fantastic news to get us through the heat. Now, you might want to take these tips on if you live in a different part of the world, because this could also help you guys out. So, number one rule to staying cool: sleep downstairs. Open your windows, drink extra fluid, and don't go out when it's warm, and don't do exercise when it's warm. So I know none of you's known that before. They've also told us this week in the UK that the murder wasps are on the way. And murder wasps are coming to kill everybody in the UK. And it's okay because a cucumber will repel them. Now, I'm not sure if you have to, as Dawn said earlier, do we have to throw the said cucumber at the actual murder wasp? How many cucumbers will be needed? How many said wasps will there be? We haven't had
Are they
any.
specific cucumbers?
Is there anyone in charge of this? Who's organising this cucumber handout? Have we got to fund our own cucumbers? Well, no, I'm going to start a petition. I'm not funding my own cucumbers. I want you to bring cucumbers to my house. Oh my Lord, I'm absolutely offended. God. But yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. You always get one in, don't you? I'm not single, by the way. I'm married, so you probably might want to go and disappear. Yeah. So Dawn said she's going to be brandishing two. Oh, I can see. Let me just get rid of these idiots. put my laptop on. Stay there. Don't fall over. I'm talking to Dawn. See, anything you have that's nice, you have to go and ruin it, don't you? You just have to. You just have to go and ruin it. I'm not your granny, sweetheart. If it was your granny, you would be alive now. So be typing on YouTube. But yeah, don't they? They just have to muck it up and make it icky and like. I'll just go in here and get rid of him. Do a Reform UK. 1 second. I'm not understanding why you're just repeating the name of the country that you're in. I can read. I grew up in the British system. I went to school. So we know you're from India. Have you got anything else to add? Anything pertinent? Anything you want to pass down from your family history? You feel, might be a good thing to pass down? No? Okay then. Yeah, Vicky, will mini cucumber... Mark, will mini cucumbers count? He hates me sometimes, Well, what about mini cucumbers?
That's why I said any specific cucumbers. Can you use a pickled cucumber?
Oh, yeah, a pickle. Can you go and find out more information I need to know? Meanwhile, there's a gentleman from India annoying me, so I just need to go in here and get rid of him.
Move.
He's just posting India all of the time, like we don't know how to... Because he probably thinks we don't know how to spell it, or we've never heard of his country. Oh, we've heard of his country.
Oh, fucking hell, have we heard of his fucking country?
Just one moment. This is how you just don't put up with it. You just say no. You just go like that. No, you'll get kicked out now because you're not a subscriber. And if you come back as a subscriber, I'm just going to block you from my channel so you can't come back. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we see. See, this is what I mean. They just ick it up, don't they? Why can't they just come in and say, right, people from another country, let's have a conversation. Let's discuss the world. They could have given us tips on how it, because they're where they are. It's not in it. They could have let us know, but no, you have to go all radical and stuff. Talking about fucking killer spiders and murder wasps. Do you think there's an entire society that just sits out there wait for lives to come up so that I can infiltrate the live and type the name of my country several thousand times? I just haven't got the time for that. What's Paddy put? Let me have a read. Oh, this one's totally off the bat. This one will probably get me kicked off. If you can't get a cucumber. I can't say that on live telly, but I get what you mean. Is it the shape that scares them off? Because if it's the shape that scares them off, I'm quite sure there are other things shaped like cucumbers that we could use. What about banana? As far as I'm concerned, butterflies and stuff like bananas, so they might not be good. They might invite the murder wasps in. I don't know. Have we always had murder wasps, or is this a new thing? Because every year I've seen the bees are going to... Well, you get one or two, don't you? You get all bees are dying, or bees are going to kill us all, depending on which part of the country you live in. But have we always had murder wasps? Are they a new thing? Who invented them and why? Why do we have them? I don't know. I've never heard of it. I set myself some Google alerts. I just put ridiculous things that the UK government say, and I got a host of newspaper reports that... Honestly, I can't believe people get paid to make. How much are they on? I could have done that. I could have done that in 80s, just sat there and made stuff up. And like, oh no, actual, like, there's going to be a tide that's going to come into the country in spring and autumn, and it will probably kill several thousand winkles at the sea. Just stop lying to us and making us feel like goddamn fucking idiots in our own country that we're paying for. Just be straight with us. Them wasps are here again this year. Best thing you can probably do is just counteract government advice and leave your window shut. Oh, thank you, Kel. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Didn't they say last month that it was going to be flying ant? We were all like warned, weren't we, for days and days on TikTok and on YouTube and on Facebook that the flying ants were coming. Flying ants come. They're like, I'm going to get this word wrong, I'm sorry. They're like cicadas or whatever they're called. They have a limit, don't they? They'll stay under the ground for so long, and when the heat gets to a certain, when it's just the right weather for them to mate or hatch and come out, that's what they do. They come out in their absolute droves. If you don't know me, I am a paranormal researcher, and you would be amazed how many fairy pictures I get sent in the early spring, early summer season. And every single one of them is a goddamn flying insect of some kind. Strangely enough, that's when flying insects are at their absolute best. They're on their carnival. Debbie, don't say it. They're on their carnival cruise during those months. They get up to all kinds of stuff. In their world, there is an entire mosquito channel based on what they get up to during those months, and people will look at this, it's two fairies holding hands and like, oh God, please leave your house on occasion. Yeah. Right, Big Dog's put, the term murder hornet is a sensationalised nickname for the Asian giant hornet. Right, that makes sense. It's not an official scientific name, but rather a name given by the press. So that would suggest to me that some Brits will not have an immunity to it. And Benadryl's not going to cut the... Just don't... If you see a wasp, don't go near it. Leave it alone. I have a party trick, and some people know it and some people don't. If you change your energy, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like when you go near bees. If you change your energy, wasps don't do it. When you fly your arms around and your hair around, you run around screaming, then they go on the attack. If you just sit and close your eye, you've really got to trust. It'll come right near you, but then it'll go. It has no interest in you then. You've not... don't wear perfume at this time of the year if you don't like bugs, because they're just attracted to the pheromones and things that are in there. They're just bugs being bugs. It's what they do, But yeah, I'm just having a read back. Yeah, look, I came home from work once, Vicar. Those things that you just mentioned, them hornets, a long time ago, before I was with Mark. And I lived in Little Ulton, and I worked in Swinton, and it was like a 5-6 mile walk home. So I'm walking home, it's dead hot like this, proper sunny, it was a lovely day. I finished my shift, I'm walking home in the afternoon, I've got a cold cola and a sandwich for my dinner. And I turned the corner, and I thought my house was on fire. And it was just this black mass moving across my front window and like down my door and into the garden. And it took me a second to realise that it was a swarm. And as I realised that, the guy who lived next door to me runs down the side of his house, screaming his head off. He's only gone and cut into a tree with a chainsaw, and there's been an hornet's nest in it. I couldn't go in my house. I'm thinking, I've got to get the kids from school at 3. What am I going to do? We had to wait for them to move, because there's no one in the UK who'll come out and do it. People think we all live this like country town. We go, hello, local beekeeper, could you come to my house and collect these bees, please? Now I will swap you for some of my eggs for some of your honey. It don't happen like that. Your phone will go, it's about £8,000, love. We can come Feb. Yeah, I just had to stand there and wait for him to go away. He ended up in hospital. He was in a right mess. Yeah, there's a bit of education you could have told us years ago. Do you remember when I can't say his name. Do you remember when Finger lived next to us and he cut through the thing and all of the Hornets came out before I was with you?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, everyone in the street was running from Hornets, weren't they, for an inside day till they decided to move. I said people think that we live in a kind of utopia where we go, oh, hello, can you come and pick up these bees, please? I'll swap you for some of my lovely eggs. And my lover. It's not like I said, they'll more than likely charge you about £8,000, won't they? How much is it for wasp, man?
Don't know. Don't know.
It's a lot, innit?
Yeah.
What you do as a drink, sweetheart. It is, it's a lot, you know, so people don't do it, do they? But yeah, oh, dog's gone with him now. He's thinking he's getting his treats. Nice one for that. No, I'm in a good mood today. Girls have been around today. I've seen my daughters. So, sun's been shining. It's been absolutely lovely. I'm ready for ripping it off my body. But loads of people have given me some good advice, and because YouTube keep making me comments disappear, I can't reply to those. But I have taken it all on board, and I've agreed with everything that everybody's told me. I am waiting on going to see musculoskeletal so they can inject into it. Apparently, the collagen in my shoulder has frozen. So when I had the fall off the arse, I busted me, was it rotor cuff? And I've snapped a ligament in here. And while that's been healing, the collagen's congealed. So they've got to basically somehow get it to move and get it broke. So I'm still doing the physio, I'm doing all of that. I'm just waiting on an appointment now. And the plan being is they're going to inject it, which will help me do more movement, which will help me get it moving more, you know? So that's the plan going forwards. Yeah, Dawn Rowland said we used to be able to ring the council pest man to deal with it. I was talking about that. I didn't know whether you lot find it boring or not. But you probably, a lot of you are around my age, if not younger or older. Back when I was a kid, we had what we call porters. Now, I don't know what you call them in other places, and they worked for corporation. And corporation was like the local council. And they would make sure that your flat in your home, if you had social housing, was cleanly decorated. And that you were using each room for its purpose. So if you had a problem with like the electric or the water, there was always one of them that lived on on a block. So say on Sutton, I don't know how many blocks there would have been, probably at least 20, right? At least 20 blocks of flats or apartments. On each of those blocks or apartments, there would be one guy, and they'd all be available during the day. And then if there was an emergency during evening or night time, they'd do that on call. So if you were a kid and you did anything and they caught you, they would drag you back to your ma's house and knock on the front door and say, she's just drawn on a wall, or you just pull that bush up. You were terrified of them as kids. And like I say, I've not seen a policeman on a beat. I can't tell you the last time I saw a policeman on a beat. But they used to walk around every hour when I was a kid. The same beat, and they did it hour in, hour out. So if you'd done out, or they've been like some shady business going on, all of the women in the street would have a brew and talk to that copper, and all of the men would talk to that copper, and he'd have loads of like local information. He'd know what was going on. So there was a hell of a lot less crime. Now, I know where I lived, the guys who did it, the ones that we call the porters, they got their flat for free. So they made sure that those like stairwells were swept, and like there was no litter on the ground. There was no yapping dogs all day long. There was none of that. And we even used to, people don't believe me, you were even allowed, even up to, I got my first flat when me and Pete got wed, I would have been 18, very, very early 18. Got married the day before I was 18. So we got the flat at 17, obviously, and decorated it to move in. They gave you free paper. You'd go in and they'd have all these books of Crown wallpaper. I'm not kidding. Crown wallpaper. You can't afford that, can you? And you picked what rooms you wanted it in and what colours you wanted your paint. I kid you not. And then they would let you take it for free. And then every 3 years, they were allowed to come in and make sure that your house was living up to standard. Now, don't get me wrong, they were slums. They were absolute slums. When I moved on there was no indoor loos and stuff like that, none of that. We had to go to our nana's for the bath. And then when it got radical in the 70s, when the government said these are slum conditions, you need to put indoor plumbing in them, that we literally had a bath in the kitchen. Can you imagine these days? There's your mum like peeling spuds and all that, and you're in bath. But we were poor. That was the only living accommodation we had at the time. And it doesn't surprise me that a lot of people stuck to the traveller life, because if a place is awful and you've got crime, you just pick up and you move. You move away from it, don't you? It's when you settle in these metropolis places that all of this crime comes with it, kind of thing. But I remember everything that I'm going to say to you guys now, my grandma said or my granddad said, and I thought, shut up, you know. Yeah. So every time the granddad used to say, everything was right, fields round here when I was a lad. He was right. Everything was fields round here when I was a girl. And then they're not. They're Amazon depots, Wish depots, Aldi depots, depots for Marks and Spencers, depots for Waitrose, depots for a man. Just depot after depot after depot. It's a big concrete jungle, interspaced with sheep fields and cow fields, depending on what farmer they can force out of land. Let's be honest. Because the farmer where I used to live fought for 25 years to keep them from compulsory purchase. It was the old dairy. It was beautiful, a beautiful old farm. And it had been generations and generations. And he, like I say, he kept them at bay for 25 years, and he compulsory, some guy who lives on Isle of Wight, Isle of Man or whatever, the one that's at the bottom, some billionaire who was in his 80s. Peel Holdings, a lot of you will know that name. He compulsory purchased it and put 5,000 houses on it. It's unbelievable. We don't live in like a towny town, so like a lot of the roads and that are fine, but once you get just out of the centre, they're not made for that traffic, because they were made in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. So not everybody had a car in the family back then, did they? Roy, lie down or go and get on your bed. No, you can't just keep walking around the bed. Lie down. Mark, will you shout him? Roy, lie down. He's all warm and bothered. He's walking around the bed in a circle and he's not. I don't mind as long as he lies down. I just don't want him wandering round. No broken tripods in this house. I get why he's here. It's cool. There's cold air blowing through that window, but he wants to walk round in it like. And unfortunately, I'm using the bed right about now. An idiot, isn't I? We're just having a read through comments. Oh, for crying out loud. Will you keep him in there with you? Poor dog. To bloody eat, he don't know what to do with himself. But there is finally some cold air coming through. It got so bad the other night, me and Mark went up to the moor. Let me get that right. Bloody hell, like I'm Batman. Me and Mark went up to the moor because it was just lightly raining up there. It was beautiful. It was only about 9 o'clock. And kids had gone home. And he was like, do you want to go for a drive? We'll take the dog for a walk. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was really warm down here. So I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I didn't put like outdoor shoes on. I didn't have my coat or anything like it. It was really, I didn't even have a jumper with me. And as we were driving up, I thought, it's a bit cloudy up here. And it was, but it was nice, if you get what I mean. It was like, oh, it was just like sitting in a spray. Talking of which, most of you know I have that red light treatment, right? And I have it mostly on the top half of my body at the moment. But earlier I used to have it on my legs, right? So that's apparently on the machine. The top half of the machine is very different to the bottom half, and I didn't know. So I've gone for my first session. Yeah, you got to think on. I can't have my top on because it's his shoulder that they're doing it on. So you kind of lay there on this machine like a sunbed really, and you lie under this red light kind of thing, and it kind of pulsates. And what they didn't tell me was halfway through it squirts cold water. Right? Nobody told me, and I have night terrors. So I'm there because it really helps. Like the red light really helps with the pain. So it's like half an hour in the day where I'm actually it's not hurting. And I started nodding off. And I clearly nodded off, and I've gone into full nana nod, and I went, fucking hell, shouted my head off, and it banged my head off the top of the thing. She was like, "You all right?" I was like, "Don't come in." If you could have filmed it, I'd have got a million hits. I'd have got a million hits on YouTube, but yeah, I smacked my egg on it like that. John smacked. I remember when I was little, the rest of the house was so cold, yeah, that we'd have a bath in front of the fire in the living room. I think most of us do. I was going to get onto that. Like, how then we kind of worked with the seasons, didn't we, when you think about it? I'm not lying when I say that my parents, growing up as children, didn't have enough blankets and stuff. They used to have, like, coats and stuff on top of that to keep. There was no central heating, was there? Dawn is a prime example of this. Dawn said in the chat the other week, I started off, I said my nana was scared of microwaves. She was absolutely terrified of microwaves. Couldn't stand, thought they were like the devil's work himself. They'll melt your inside. Now, my stepsister, who's older than me, her grandmother was convinced that radiators melted your bones. So they only came out when we were like young teenagers, I'd say, and you'd have to be posh to have radiators, because Dawn's right, we had one fire, didn't we? If you were lucky, you had a fire upstairs, but there's no way they was putting coal in it unless you were ill. If you're ill, you might have go up with like a shovel of coal and put the coal in the bedroom. But yeah, her grandma was convinced. She's go, "Oh, don't sit on the radiator, you'll melt your bones." Well, Dawn's grandma was convinced that if you used water out of the electric kettle, it was electric water. You know, it is electric food, the microwave, you are right. So, like, all of these things that your nana and your granddad did that you remember from being a kid, but they were wise. They knew how to get a fire going quick, didn't they? Used to get a piece of newspaper and hold it in front of the fire so it'd draft right dead quick. Yeah, they were really clever at stuff because they were so used to doing it. It was second nature to them. Yeah, and it was just like, I remember a poem when I was a kid. I don't remember it now, but there was a poem when I was a kid, and some people out there will remember it, and it tells you how each different kind of wood works in a fire. So it'd be like, oh, apple's great, give you a lot of light, but you don't get much heat off it. So it kind of told you like the best woods to use, whatever you were using the wood for, because you don't want some woods to cook on. That you want to heat the house, you want different. So you like spruce is what you're going to use to heat the house, isn't it? But if you're only saying putting a pan of stew on, you throw your pine in there and your bits of scrap and stuff, because you get clever. You make it last as long as it'll last, because that's all you've got. That's what we did. Now, I told people the other night, and they were astounded. You're not allowed them anymore. Where I live, we are no longer allowed fires outside or inside during the summer months, and no fires. So you can't barbecue out like that during the summer months, because certain people are destroying the area by having barbecues and leaving all the gear, and it's gone. So that's all out of the window. So what a lot of my neighbours are going to do come winter, I don't know. I think it'll all get argued down and it'll change it, because a lot of them, that's their source of heating. You know, not coal fires, but like wood fires. We're not allowed coal fires anymore. But that's their general source of heating. At first year, me and Mark moved in this flat. See, I call it a flat. It's not even a flat. It's like four. Would you call it a duplex in America? So I live on the bottom part of the cottage, and he lives in the top part of the cottage. And then there's one the same next door. So it's kind of been split into 4 dwellings. And it was done a long, long time ago. So the first year that we moved in, I'm not kidding, the first time it rained through my windows. I come into the bedroom and I said to Matt, "Oh, Jesus Christ, I think we're having a flood." And there was just water all over the floors. And it was literally coming through the windows. They were that bad. Remember our windows? He's taking him out. Our windows when we first moved in round here, it rained through them, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was literally pushing the curtains like that. Oh, it was awful. Yeah, it was really, really bad. So, like, one of the first jobs we had done was, like, replacing the windows and stuff like that. So just to make it... You can still see daylight through the front door. That's how badly it fits. But she's an old duchess, you know. So now all of our summer jobs are done. We're going to do that. We're going to winter her up for this winter. But believe me, I've felt the cold the first couple of years we were in here. And just how it's situated, because we're situated in like a wind tunnel, really. So it's nice when it's like this, when it's warm, getting all that wind, but it's not nice when it's bad weather and we get all that wind. But, you know, I love every season, mate. There's something to love in every season, isn't there? You know, I just think there is. I think there's something, we look forward to something in the seasons changing. And I think that's why when we were back in the day, that's why we worship the seasons so much, wasn't it? That's where our early religions come from, and that the seasons and what they were doing and how they affected us as people and the food that we ate and the animals and all of that. We used to understand it to a far better degree than we understand it now, don't we? And I don't think at any point, if they'd have had newspapers back then, they'd have been going on about murder wasps and killer spiders and cucumbers and all that ridiculous stuff. They'd have been an almanac that told you what to do in it, no messing about, and people would have done that. Or they would have, like, shared information. And this is how we do it. There's lots of ways, isn't there, keeping wasps out of your house? Lots and lots of ways. I know a woman who crochets. It sounds mad, I know, but it works. And she just crochets a white bag that's the same shape as a wasp nest and just pins it up on the eave. And she never gets wasps because other things think that there's wasps in that nest and wasps won't go near other wasps. It's just, if everybody knew that, it'd be really easy to deal with, didn't it? But they don't want you to know that. They want you to buy the cans of spray, and they want you to buy the insecticide, and they want you to buy this, and they want you to buy that. Because if you don't buy, then society falls. Because society is run on us buying things. At the base of all the drama, it's all about us buying things. So if they can scare us about wasps coming into our bedroom at night, then we will go out and purchase whatever we can to stop that. You know, if they tell us that killer spiders are going to come into your house, and you know, they turn around tomorrow and say there's killer rabbits in the countryside that have got rabies and they're going to come into your house and steal your carrots and all of that, then you go and buy like rabbit proof stuff, don't you? It's what you do. You buy into it. It's what we're meant to do. So don't be hard on yourself for doing it. We've been programmed to do that since the day we were born. Because you think about it, if we all just suddenly decided, right, we've all got stuff, haven't we? We've got stuff. And the only thing we need really going forward, so if today everything was like, right, you can never buy stuff ever again, you'd be like, well, what about food? And it's like, oh yeah, you can buy food. You'd be like, right, well, I'm fine then. Because basically all you need at the end of the day, innit, is shelter, food and water. And we've forgot that because we've been... I'm terrible for it. If I'm down or upset or fed up or happy, I'll go and have a little spend. I'll be like, oh, I'm at a charity shop. I'll go and see what I can find. We're all guilty of it. It's what we do. I wouldn't be this shape if I didn't like the odd cake, the odd bit of ice cream. We like a treat, don't we? Everybody likes a bit of a fika in the afternoon kind of thing. But I don't know, it's just, we're programmed to buy things. But I love watching the shows on YouTube where they show you how to make things from scratch. So like they proper, here's how you make bread. None of that dicking about. Like, not hipster bread. Like you can do this bread today for your family and have it with veg soup, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm glad I made that. It's bloody gorgeous. Those kind of channels. And I like channels that show you how to make things go further. So like how to do things with your leftovers. I like survival channels and preppers. Because let's be honest, if there's ever a time when we need to prep, it's now. It's now. There's no more waiting. It's now. If you go and look on the news after listening to me, you're just going to see riots in countries all across the world, and it's going to get worse every day. If we do not know how to prep, we need to know now. You need to know what to do if the electric goes. You need to know what to do if you suddenly, we can no longer get water out of those taps. What's the first thing you're going to do? Because that's all it is. They know that they've got us there because they control food, water and shelter. And if we can do as much as we can not to rely on those for those things, then we're freeing ourselves, aren't we? Every day we're freeing ourselves that bit more. And you know, that's what I'm about, innit? Freeing the common man, you know? Let's more of it. But yeah, as I can hear me noisy neighbour just pull up from out the front, I'm going to leave you all with it tonight. I'm going to take some painkillers, go and have a sit on my bed. But it's been lovely chatting to you. Like I say, I will be back on Saturday evening at 8 p.m. with Deb, Probably 8 till 10, so we'll do a live stream. If there's anything you want me and her to talk about, or you've got any questions for us, pop them in the comments below. But if not, you can ask them in the chat on the night that we do it. And we're just going to have a good old what's happening in the UK today kind of chat like we've had tonight. But thanks for joining me for 2 live streams because my internet's shite. And I shall see you all on Saturday. Good night, everyone.